Welcome to Baldy's Breakdowns, the 2023 draft. Today, I'm going to talk about cornerbacks. It's a terrific class. I just want to let you know, I'm right here in my war room. Right here in my war room on the third floor at NFL Films in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. There's a storm going on outside. I can hear it. It's bouncing off the roof up here. The rain's coming down hard. Fortunately, I'm in the film room here, and I could care less what's going on out there. Because I think all you want to know is, can your team get better? And there's some corners in this draft that can help your team get better. So let's just get right to it because it's a deep class. I normally give you the top 5. Heck, I might go to 7, 8 in this class because it's just that talented. All right, but at the very top, and there's room for debate at the top. I'm not going to say one guy is Darrelle Revis, one guy is Sauce Gardner. I don't think anybody is, that right yet. But there's some talented players. I'm going to start with Devon Witherspoon from the University of Illinois. I could give you all the stats. I can tell you he's 6 foot, 180. He had 32 starts for the Illini. I can tell you all that stuff. 5 interceptions, 25 PBUs. But really, what you have to do is you have to go watch Devon Witherspoon, and not just on YouTube and the highlight reel. That will raise your interest. Just watch this guy play down to down, play to play. Because I'm telling you right now, I haven't seen a corner hit like this since Ronnie Lott came out of USC in like 1980 or 81, whatever. When Ronnie came out, he came out as a corner, ended up moving to safety, Hall of Fame player. I haven't seen a corner hit like this. This guy just brings, like, he packs a punch when he hits. I don't know where the power comes from, but he is aggressive. And I'm telling you, if he's coming on a blitz, you better watch out. If you're the running back, got to pick him up on a corner cat, you better be ready. You better, buckled up, that double chin strap buckle, you better buckle it up because he is going to light you up. If I saw it one time, I'm like, okay, he's got it in him. You see it every game. Like, this guy can flat out hit. I remember, and then, okay, that's the ancillary part of his game. You get these guys because they can cover. I'm telling you, watching Devon Witherspoon cover stops, slants, digs, square outs, 7 cuts, skinny posts, bang eights, you name it, the guy smothers you. He flat out just smothers you. He can turn and run. He reads routes like a veteran. He is, to me, he's the number 1 corner in this draft. And I have, I've seen other guys that I respect in this business have him as the number 1 corner, but I wanted to cross-check it. So I went and, texted back and forth with the prominent defensive coordinator of this league. And I said, just give me your top corners, stack them for me. And Devon Witherspoon was a clear-cut number 1 on his board. So I know what I'm looking at here, but he had, it's interesting because he's from Pensacola, Florida, which is a football hotbed. Up there in Panhandle, Florida. He had like 0 interest. So, if you look at teams that could use him, like, I think Carolina's pretty well set. And, last year, Houston took Darryl Stingley. Arizona just traded away their best corner. I think it'd start number 1. Houston's got 2 number 1 draft picks. We know probably they're going to take a quarterback with one of them. Corners there. Arizona certainly needs a corner. You go right through the top of the draft here. Indianapolis just lost to, Stephon Gilmore. He's not going to be there in the 2nd round. So you got to pick at the top. Seattle took a top flight corner, Tariq Woolen, last year in the 5th round. He's a stud. Time for the league lead. Detroit just lost Jeffrey Okudah. They signed 2 in free agency. Could Detroit take? You just go through the list. Like, I think the first real landing spot for Witherspoon is number 7 to the Raiders. Now, I know the Raiders do some wacky things, and, you can't really count on what they're going to do. But if they don't build their secondary with top flight talent, they're just going to ball over their head. You can pick a spot defensively. They need it. Pass rusher, but they need a corner. And I feel like Devon Witherspoon could go as early as number 7 to the Raiders. So let's just kind of put that out there. My next choice of corner is Christian Gonzalez of Oregon. And, here's a kid that played and started 18 games at Colorado over 2 years. Look, Colorado's just a terrible franchise. Deion Sanders is there. Prime's there trying to, breathe some life into that program in Boulder. Great place to visit, lousy place to watch some football over the last few years. But Christian Gonzalez, he went there. He's out of the Houston area. He went there last year in 1 year, started 12 games, was really awesome. He started 30 games now over his 2 years at Colorado and at Oregon. And I thought he really took his game to the next level at Oregon this year. And then he went to the combine and he just texted and he just competed out of the gym. He ran that 4.3840 that caught everybody's eyebrows. He jumped 41 and a half inches. So, he's already 6'2", and he's got a 41 and a half inch vertical. I mean, look, he's covering tight ends on the outside. He's covering, the DK Metcalfs. That's Jalen Ramsey type size and ability. Now, I'm not saying he's Jalen Ramsey because Jalen Ramsey is one of the great corners we've seen in this league. But that's what Jalen's been doing, to the top X receivers in his business, just throwing a blanket over. And then you watch, Christian just in his drills. And, sometimes these drills can be like, all right, we've seen that before. But like this guy is just smooth, super smooth. And his, hips, because it's not easy for a guy 6'2" or taller to like flip his hips, go from his back pedal to like getting out on his horse and running, staying on the upfield shoulder with some of these receivers that can just fly. Like I could think he could do all that stuff. He had 4 interceptions this year. That's pretty impressive in any year. The 4 picks. I mean, he's got ball skills. So Christian Gonzalez, to me, is number 2 in this talented class. And then number 3, I love watching Deonte Banks at Maryland play. Deonte Banks is, he's 6'1", he's 202 pounds. He tested exceptionally well. He ran 4.3640. That's elite. He ran a 1.49-10 split. That's elite. He jumped 42 inches. He jumped out of the gym, like 11 feet, 4 inches in the broad jump. So, like, his measurables are freaky. All right. But then in his 22 starts at Maryland, he did miss 2 games in 2021. You got to say it. He had a shoulder surgery. He missed the rest of the season. But 2020, 2022, boy, that guy, he is sticky. He's just Velcro. Like he can, it is fun to watch guys that can backpedal, and in their backpedal, they can run as fast as guys coming right at them. Guys aren't stepping on his toes. Like he can just stay on the upfield shoulder, clue the quarterback, look through the receiver to the quarterback, exactly what you want in man coverage. I love Deonte Banks. And really Jacorian on the other side, Bennett is really talented too, the 2 of them. So you go, okay, like go watch him against the best. Go watch him against Marvin Harrison this year against Ohio State. I mean, Marvin got 1 down the field on him. He was right there. It was a great throw, great catch, but the coverage was great. But man, he had some passes defensed. CJ Stroud missed Marvin. He missed, some of the other guys out there. Like it was eye-opening, impressive. So you go, okay, Deonte Banks, where could he go? If you say he's the 3rd corner, I don't think the Jets would take him, but I think New England would. I think New England, they struck gold last year with the Joneses that they drafted. They've got guys out. They love guys that can play man coverage. Washington, this is a landing spot for a corner. Washington is a destination for these corners. If Witherspoon is there, Washington. If Gonzalez is there or Banks, remember, Deonte Banks is from Maryland. He played at the University of Maryland. He's like literally College Park is, half hour away from FedEx Field. Like Deonte Banks to the Washington Commanders makes a lot of sense. It just does. I don't know how much farther either one of these 3 players can drop, because I feel like once one of them goes, they're all going to start dropping. That gets us to Joey Porter Jr. And Joey Porter Jr., obviously the son of Joey Porter, the great outside linebacker from the Pittsburgh Steelers, is a legit. North Allegheny High School. I'm from the Berg. I know all the high schools in Pittsburgh. North Allegheny plays some great football. And he was a star there, went to Penn State, been starting 31 starts at Penn State. Look, he's 6'2". He's 195 pounds. He's got 31 starts. You can watch him against Ohio State. You can watch him against the guys at Michigan. You can watch him, against elite receivers in and out of the Big Ten. He ran a 4.47 for a guy 6'2". I mean, he can flat out move. I feel like he can play off man. He can play press man. He likes to get his hands on guys and reroute anybody running, a cover 2. You love guys that can press, right there at the line of scrimmage, reroute, get back into coverage, take the quarter away, like all that stuff you got to do. Like he could do all that, but if you want to just put him out there and go, okay, you got you got DK Metcalf, Joey, go line up on him. You want to get your hands on DK and chance it that you miss. Let me see you go run with it, with a freak like that. So you watch him against Purdue. Purdue loves to throw the football. Guy had 6 passes defensed against Purdue this year. Like that was the first game I watched. I go, okay, Joey Porter. All right. That's my number one corner. But you watch these guys, you keep like kind of readjusting them, over a period of time. But like, look, Pittsburgh picks number 17 in the first round. I believe they're going to take an offensive tackle. But if the tackle that they covet, that they love, is gone, like Pittsburgh Steelers make a lot of sense. They lost Cam Sutton in free agency. They lost a safety, Edmonds, in free agency. So they lost 2 starters in the secondary. So you go, there's a team that covets the family bond. You look at Joey Porter, his father, star with the Steelers. You look at Hayward's, Cam and his brother. Look at TJ and Derek Watt. They're a team that not afraid. In fact, I think it's encouraged. Bring the family, fun to Heinz Field or whatever it's called right now. Anyways, I could see him go 17 to Pittsburgh. Baltimore, like they need a corner. There's Marlon Humphrey. Marcus Peters is gone. Chuck Clark is gone. Like they need a corner. And, Mike McDonald wants to play man coverage. Does any of these corners get past Baltimore picking number 22? Like sometimes Baltimore is just in a position where they just pick the best player. And they're really good at that, as Ozzie Newsome trait. But, Eric DeCosta running the team this year, like it just might happen that the need and the talent might be a corner this year for the Baltimore Ravens. I can see if one of these 4 players is there at 22 that I just mentioned, Witherspoon, Gonzalez, Banks, Porter, like I could see Baltimore jumping in there and taking him. Remember Marlon Humphrey? His dad played in the league, Alabama, Ozzie Newsome, Alabama. Like you just go, okay. He's been starting since day one there. Really, great kid, great player. And then my 5th corner is Emmanuel Forbes from Mississippi State. I just happened, my first college game this year was in Starkville, University of Memphis, Mississippi State. Cowbells were ringing. Like I couldn't wait to get to Starkville. Had never been there before. Mike Leach was on the sideline, bless his heart. And I just went through Steve Spurrier Jr., the son of Steve Spurrier, my college coach at Duke. Like he was on the staff. So I got my chart out. I got Steve Spurrier Jr. I'm like, okay, tell me who I got to watch today. Like go through defense first because I think I know the offense. But go through the defense. And so maybe the second player he talked about was Emmanuel Forbes. And so what do you have? Here's a guy that's, 6'1". He's got to jump around the shower just to get wet. I mean, he's rail thin. He's 165 pounds, maybe 170, maybe. But regardless, the guy is a great corner. I mean, first of all, he had 14 interceptions. I'm just going to say that again. There's nobody in this draft that in their course of college football had 14 interceptions, and 6 of them went for touchdowns. I mean, you just put on, what was it? Put on the first game, 2021, Indiana. Mississippi State went to Indiana. I think the 3rd play, he picked the left-handed quarterback from Indiana, whatever his name was. He had 2 pick sixes in a game. The guy has suddenness. Like if the ball is tipped, like he's taking it. Like, he's got great hands, great eye-hand coordination. From Grenada, Mississippi, like some of these high schools, some of these small towns in Mississippi, they love football. I mean, it's not just Batesville and Jackson. You go to Granada, I don't know, not far from Starkville. That's where he's from. 34 starts, for Mississippi State. Really talented player. You got to just wrap your head around that he's never going to be probably more than 170 pounds, just the way he's built. He's been healthy, talented player. Now, I said it's so talented in this draft. You got to keep talking. Like Cam Smith at South Carolina is a really talented player, 6'1", 188 pounds. He had 18 starts, 6 interceptions, 18 passes defensed. You kind of like, okay, can you trust Cam Smith? Like that's like he tested really well. He ran a 4.43, 1.49, 10 split. He's got all the measurables. But he's had injuries. When I say trust, can he line up? That's what I mean. He had a concussion, hamstring injury this year, had surgery on his foot the year before, missed 2 starts his freshman season. So he's had injuries in all 3 years. So that's the knock on Cam Smith. But when he's on the field, he's very good. He's very productive in a great conference. You can watch him against Bryce Young. You watch him against Will Levis. You watch him against, the great quarterbacks coming out this year or last year. He's got good tape. And then there's a kid at Iowa, Riley Moss. Like, okay, he might be a little stiff. But can you be stiff and still be 6'1", 193 pounds, run a 4.5, run a 1.48, 10, jump 39 inches from Ankeny, Iowa, not far from Ames, actually, or from Iowa City. But he had 11 interceptions. He had 25 passes defensed. He had 2 forced fumbles. Like, you watch that Iowa defense. I remember I did the Big Ten championship game against Michigan. It was an ugly turnout by Iowa. Big Ten championship 2021 in Indianapolis. I announced the game. And, I'm just down there on the field, Charles Woodson, some of the stars, both sides. I see the head coach at Iowa. And I'm just looking at all these guys that are coming out. Lucas Van Ness, Jack Campbell, Zach Valkenburg, like all these guys at Iowa on defense that are good players. And there's Riley Moss. And you go, okay, like where do you stack him? Is he the 6th best corner, the 7th best corner? He's there. He's right there. I don't believe he's a first-round pick, but I don't, I kind of look at the top of the 2nd round and I go, I don't know, Houston needs a corner, opposite what they did a year ago. Indianapolis with their 2nd-round pick, could they take a corner? Like some of these guys are going to go at the top of the 2nd round. I believe Seattle still needs a corner. I believe Detroit, they have 2 2nd-round picks like Cam Smith, Riley Moss. That could make a lot of sense. And then the last one is a guy that, set the combine on fire. So I don't want to leave him out. DJ Turner from Michigan. He doesn't have the size that some of these guys have. He's 5'11", 178. It's not, he's got that kind of prototypical size. He's not real long, but he's got good enough size. But, he ran the 4.2, 640. Like that's real. That means long speed. You want to get, Stephon Diggs in a double move and you kind of freeze on the double move and do you have the catch-up speed? Well, when you run 4.26, you got catch-up speed. Jumped well, all that stuff. He redshirted his first 2 years at Michigan, and then he put up, 36, starts, the last couple of years. Look, I don't know. Is he a 2nd-round pick? Probably. It's probably my 8th best corner. But this is, I mean, these I could keep going. These corners are going to go. They're going to keep falling off the board into the 3rd round. Teams are going to get starting corners. Just read my lips. Teams are going to get starting corners in this draft in the 3rd round. I believe every guy I mentioned just now can start in the NFL this season. Whether it's, nickel, second half of the year, learn the game, compete. Like these guys are going to get on the field, all 8 of them. And there's more to go. So anyways, this is a talented class. I think there's really good tackles at the top of the draft. There's some intriguing quarterbacks at the top of the draft. It's a really good draft for tight end, but it might be the best draft class for cornerbacks that we've seen in a while. We could see 5 go in the 1st round, and we might see 6 go in the first round, top 31 picks. That's Baldy's breakdowns to cornerbacks coming at you. If I sound excited about the cornerback class, it's because I'm excited about this cornerback class. And remember, this is a cornerback-driven league. When you got corners that can cover and shut guys down on the outside, it gives every great defensive coordinator in this business a chance to come after quarterbacks in a variety of ways.